Hey lovelies, it's me Kykles and welcome back to my channel for another part, well, not really a part, but more of like a let's catch up with the Bachelorette challenge. So I did the biggest boo-boo and I didn't have my audio selected in OBS, so it didn't pick up my microphone. So I recorded the whole part with no freaking audio. Anyway, so today is the next part. We're just going to be doing this voiceover. So today on the Bachelorette challenge was the speed dating. Now, the first up was Eric. As you can see, we went to this little small, quaint little coffee place. It was so great. Reyna was feeling really flirty at this point. She actually, I don't know why, she was just feeling really flirty, and what I did is I timed it, and every bachelor had 4 minutes in my time to impress, and pretty much some of the boys did impress, and some of them not quite so much. So we went ahead and tried to order a mochaccino to have at the cafe. And Eric ordered something else too, I can't really remember. And we were just chit-chatting, and Eric and Reyna had really good conversation. Although there was a little bit of kind of backwards and forwards of going and sitting at the wrong tables and all that sort of stuff. It was just kind of a bit awkward at that point. Reyna kind of wanted to sit down and have, you know, a nice cuppa over a little bit of a chit chat early in the morning, because it was like really early in the morning when we first started the speed dating. And of course, that didn't really happen because Eric had other intentions to just kind of sit completely in the opposite direction of Reyna. So the conversation was okay, but yeah, Reyna wasn't quite feeling it at this point because all she wanted to do was sit and have that one-on-one conversation with him, but they were here, there, and everywhere trying to find a place to sit because the cafe was kind of busy at that point. Everyone getting their morning coffees, etc. So Eric was feeling pretty confident this whole entire time. He turned up and he was absolutely just looking good. He was smelling good. Everything was going good except for the fact that they couldn't really kind of just sit together one-on-one and talk. So at this point, Reyna was just kind of a bit confused, I think, about, you know, how the date was going. She was a little bit kind of, I don't know, she was just feeling awkward at that point. She wanted to, as I said, sit down and have a chat. So the date was coming to a bit of an end at this point with Eric, and the conversation was kind of starting to drift off in a, I don't know, just a real weird way. So she gave him a hug and she left the cafe, and then she went on her next date. So as you can see here, they're just going to have a little bit of a hug and, you know, last little kind of, you know, conversation here. So yep, she went ahead and just had that deep conversation with him and said she was leaving, and then I think she gave him one last final hug, I'm not sure. And then Eric decided to pull the best card ever, and literally, I don't know, he just pulled the biggest you guys will see at the end. He decided that he was going to do the last bit to try and impress our Bachelorette. And he decided that he was going to take off his top and go into his undies. Nice. Alright, here we are back with the second bachelor, Ricardo, and he is looking absolutely dapper in my opinion. Looking great with that suit on, the suit that we had all the bachelors go into when we first met, our Bachelorette Reyna. And yeah, these guys are here at the restaurant for a spot of breakfast, and my goal was to try and get these guys to sit down and actually like have something to eat, but they were literally talking non-stop the whole time. I could not literally order my breakfast fast enough, and then the date was ended. So pretty much the date went that well, the conversation was flowing that nicely, and that it was just, we couldn't even freaking eat anything because he had so much to say and we had so much to say to him, and the conversation, like their choice of conversations were just gelling so nicely. He did go on his phone and started gaming randomly, and I think it was a bit of a nervous thing because Ricardo is a bit of a gamer. I just got a little bit nervous. So we went in and we ordered a table at this beautiful restaurant. They have like beautiful choices of breakfasts and stuff as well. Like beautiful fruit and all that. So yeah, this was a really, really, really good date. Like I couldn't fault it. The conversation was flowing really nicely. She didn't get any whims for Ricardo, but you know, we had this beautiful table out the back of the restaurant, kind of enjoying the morning sun, and everything just went so smoothly. Like there was nothing that I could fault. Reyna was feeling very happy at this point, and so was Ricardo. He was feeling genuinely quite confident and happy this whole entire time. So moving on to our next date, Mr. Roland. So we invited him over to the spa, and boy oh boy was he looking great. Instantly, Reyna arrived at the venue to meet him, and she was feeling still really happy from the previous date, but she was just feeling, I don't know, just extra confident, and just like from all these beautiful conversations that she'd been having previously to this date. And she went into it feeling really good. Now, the conversation was really good. They went inside, and I think at one point they got into the spa. She was getting whims to do romantic things as well, which is quite interesting. So I want to make this pretty clear. If Reyna gets an interaction to, like flirt with someone, the bachelor that she's talking to at the time, we can go ahead and do that, but obviously we can't go ahead and kiss anyone at this point because we're not at that romantic level. Reyna, being quite a romantic young woman, she of course wants to kiss a lot of bachelors, but so they jumped into the hot spa bath at this point, nice morning spa, getting ready for the day, and the conversation was flowing really nicely. She wanted to do something romantic, so we went in and did, I think it was like a risque question or something, or a risque statement or something, and he declined it. I think he just got a little bit embarrassed. She was coming off quite strong at that point, and he got just a little kind of, caught off guard, so that didn't go as planned. So Reyna obviously got a bit discouraged and left the spa, but she went into the bathroom and refreshened herself up, and she felt instantly flirty afterwards. So yeah, there is definitely a physical attraction with Mr. Roland. I can definitely see things heating up between the two of them. So we gave him a hug and we left, and on to our next date with Mr. Sonny. Mr. Sonny arrived. Mr. Sonny, he was looking really good, smelling good. He came to the venue really happy this morning. So we arrived here to do a bit of bowling. Now, as I said, sometimes it can be hard for these Sims to go and do the things that you want them to do, but she was just feeling absolutely just amazing. She was feeling flirty, just from that previous encounter with Roland in the spa. So it was really hard to differentiate the dates between how she was feeling for the certain type of sim, but if she was feeling a certain type of way from the previous one, if you know what I mean. But we totally just went over and we started trying to interact with him. It was a little hard in some ways, which you guys will see soon, but yeah, the conversation was flowing nicely when they arrived. We did go ahead and use the restroom too, because she needed to use the toilet and stuff. She was feeling completely over it by that point, so she went to the toilet. She was complimenting his outfit and trying to make nice conversation with him there about his day. Things were going good. She wanted to schedule that date, but of course we're already on that date. Now she wanted to tell someone, or tell Sonny, a dirty joke. Now there was no interaction to do that dirty joke, which in my eyes, obviously that was made for someone else, because we couldn't do that interaction with Sonny. So I did try again later on, just before we left, to try and clear that whim, but we couldn't do that dirty joke. So she just went ahead and expressed admiration, as she has done with all of the bachelors on the dates, expressed the admiration. If she felt like she needed to, she went ahead and asked them if they were single. But yeah, looking at the way, looking at the way things were going at that point, obviously the date with Eric went well, but we just couldn't stop thinking about the date with the previous like Roland and Ricardo. We just couldn't stop thinking about that. So anyway, so a little bit of time went past. I think this was coming really close to the end of the date. We just kind of rounded things off here, but then there was this random girl that came up to Sonny and started doing this rude interaction. It was almost like she knew him in a certain, like she knew of him, but in a different kind of stage of their lives. And I don't know what that was about, but she literally came in and she was talking about money and she was getting quite frustrated with Sonny. And I think that Reyna, she saw that and she was kind of like, I don't really know what's going on there. So she kind of just ended that in a really weird way. This random young adult girl came up to him and she's like, what the hell? Like, so she ended up leaving the date and just sort of said bye to him. But yeah, anyway, so the next one we had was Mr. Josh. Now he arrived feeling absolutely just happy again. Another happy little bachelor here, ready to impress. And he was looking good, and Reyna was, I will point it out, she was feeling very energized, but she was feeling really, really good, pumped, and she was feeling really, I don't know, not like she was feeling confident, don't get me wrong, but she was feeling this energy that she hasn't felt before, feeling so energized and confident, and she was feeling herself, y'all. She was feeling herself. So this was another really good date. We had the really good date with Ricardo and Roland. Roland's obviously, his date didn't go, obviously that well at the end because of that interaction, but Ricardo, Roland, and the date with Josh went all so well. Obviously we've had really, really good dates with everyone, but I personally, playing this, was feeling Ricardo, Roland, and Josh's date. And this conversation, as you can see here, was just flowing so nicely. They sat and talked at the bar the whole time. They ordered a drink together. They were having just a laugh. And I don't know, there was just something about this date where everything was flowing. They were evenly talking about their interests. She was going ahead and being confident with herself. And it really just, I felt that attraction growing between her and Josh, especially Josh's attraction towards Reyna. So yeah, really, really impressed with that. And they were just joking around, having a good time. Of course, Josh is a romantic sim as well, so he's really all about that. But I just love it. I love the way things are going at this point. So we ended up rounding off a really, really good date with Mr. Josh. And then we met Rob a little bit later on. It was kind of getting, quite late, 11:30 at night. So he knew that he was going to be later on in the night, and he was happy with that. So Rob arrived, and Rob was feeling pretty happy as well. We were talking about gaming and talking about bugs. We love those bugs. No, but seriously, she was talking about lots of things. She wanted to have a water balloon fight. She wanted to kiss someone. Obviously, we were not at that level yet, so we can't go ahead and kiss him. But she was getting whims for him. Now, this is the first freaking sim that she's had whims for ever. And I think she got about 3 of them. Now, on this date, we went in, obviously, we went to another cafe. And our goal was just to kind of try and sit down and really engage in that conversation again. And the cafe date went okay. She got whims for him. The conversation was going okay. But then Rob went ahead and sat down with a lady, as you can see here, and he started chatting to her. And it's like, you're on a date with Reyna, and he's randomly chatting to this other woman. So Reyna just felt really just a bit uncomfortable. She was kind of a bit like, okay, like, you're supposed to be on a date with me. And she just kind of got a bit discouraged and a little bit kind of like, at that point. So I made her sit outside to see if Rob would follow her. And of course he kind of did, but then he went back inside. So it was one of those other dates, kind of like Eric's date, where it was okay, but it was just that kind of in between, going backwards and forwards and not really sitting down and having that one-on-one time, because everyone was trying to, they were trying to do what they wanted to do, and they really couldn't get that, going, because, perfect example, sitting there with 2 opposite sims who were not on a date with. But however, she went out and did some stargazing with him, and she honestly was feeling pretty good about the date. She was just a little bit unsure about the other woman. She was just thinking, what are his intentions? Is he really here for love? But I couldn't help but noticing she did get whims for him throughout this date. So that was that. So overall, you guys, this was obviously our second to last date here. Overall, the date went pretty well. So Aiden is our final last bachelor, and by this time it was pretty late. So full hats off to Aiden. Now the reason why we had Aiden last is because he went into the speed dates with the highest friendship level with Reyna, and he got kind of a little bit less time. Well, no, I wouldn't say a lot less time, but that was because of his choice. So we went and sat at the bar. And the conversation was going really nice, smooth again. It was a little bit awkward because Reyna was feeling a little tired, but that literally passed. She was still feeling pretty focused, and she just managed to carry on through the date quite well. She wanted to do something romantic as well, so of course we went ahead and we asked him if he was single, I think, or we flirted, I think we went in with a little flirt. So we went in with a little flirt and he took it, and of course here you can see they were just joking around, and the compatibility between these two in terms of their personality and their humour, just bang on the money. Like, you can see how they have the same kind of humour as each other. So here I was just kind of talking about, looking at all the bachelors' levels of friendships, and I was saying that, I really felt Ricardo, Sonny, and Roland's date. I felt a lot of the guys' dates, don't get me wrong, I think they all did really well, but I couldn't help but notice that Aiden left and went to change into a robe. He wasn't really wanting to engage in any more conversation at that point, which I felt was a little bit kind of, I don't know, Reyna felt a little bit cut off, and the one thing you don't do to Reyna is cut her off and walk away when she's trying to have a conversation with you. So that was a little weird, but as I said, the conversation was flowing really nicely. I didn't quite feel this date as much as I did with everyone else, but as I said, Ricardo, Roland, and Josh's date, I just loved it. Like, I loved those 3 dates. So we did have 3 successful, really good dates. I'm honestly really happy with all of them. I think the best impression was, of course, the 3 of them, as I said before. But as you can see, back to the date, and we're just talking back about the date, she was just genuinely having a good laugh with Aiden. And I honestly feel like she can have a good laugh with him and be herself. But I'm not too sure how to differentiate between the friendships, and it's going to be really interesting when we step it up a notch and be romantic with each of the bachelors to see the compatibility in terms of a relationship. So we all know that Aiden and Reyna are good friends, and all of the other bachelors are friends. However, it's going to be very interesting when we go and start trying to spice things up a little bit, because, we can all be friends, but is that compatibility still the same in a relationship? You can have a really good friend, but being compatible in a relationship is another thing, in my opinion. So what I was talking here is just saying about the really good dates that we had. I personally am banging, oh, Kylie, I don't know. I'm personally betting on my money that Reyna will get more wins for these guys, but I'm not too sure. Like, at this point, I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you think all the dates went? How do you feel like, I don't know, who do you feel like made the best impression? Tell me down below in the comments. I would love to know. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys all. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.